I call this meeting to order at 6:06 p.m. I'd like to start this meeting by reading the township land acknowledgement. The township of Adjala-Tosorontio is situated on the lands within Treaty 18, being the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people, including the Ojibwe, Ododwa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge Indigenous people as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture and of our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways which sustain us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that of the decisions of government impact our shared land and all the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey, foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to welcome Shirley, our newest member who's been appointed to our committee. Are there any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll proceed to item number 3, the adoption of the agendas. So committee development and committee agenda for March 23rd, 2026. Reads that the agenda for the committee development and event committee held on Monday, March 23rd be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cox. Can I get a seconder, please? Shirley. Any questions? All those in favor? Carried. We're going to move to section 4, disclosure of pecuniary interests. Is there any disclosures of pecuniary interests? If not, seeing none, we're going to move to item number 5, which is the adoption of the minutes. The recommendation reads that the minutes for the Community Development and Event Committee meeting held on Monday, October 27, 2025 be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cox. Can I get a seconder, please? Shirley. Any questions? All those in favor? Carried. Next, we're going to move to item 6.1, the committee's terms of reference. The Community Development and Event Committee's terms of reference is presented for information. The purpose of the Community Development and Event Committee is to support and plan community events throughout the township, including our annual Canada Day celebration using budget allocated funds. The terms of reference also highlight such items as the mandate of the committee, membership, qualifications, terms of office, and roles and responsibilities. As this is the first meeting of the committee of 2026, and we have one new citizen member of the committee, we have attached this document for reference. Before we move on with the agenda, does anyone have any questions regarding the terms of reference? Okay, seeing none, we will move to item 6.2, the proposed 2026 development schedule that has 7 meeting placeholders in accordance with the term of reference. Please note meetings may be canceled and additional meetings may be scheduled by the committee in consultation with the clerk. The recommendation reads that the proposed 2026 Community Development Event Committee schedule be approved. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cox. Can I get a seconder, please? Shirley. Any questions? All those in favor? Carried. We're going to move on to item 6.3, which is the Rural Ontario Developmental Development Grant. We're going to get an update from our deputy clerk regarding this grant that we had applied for.
Thank you, Chair. Briefly, just a quick update. Staff have submitted the application to the grant program for the mural project, which was submitted on the 23rd of February ahead of the 26th of February deadline. It is anticipated that the decision on the grant or on the proposal will be provided within 3 months. So hopefully around May, June, we should have a decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that update. Next, we're going to move to item 6.4, which will be general business. It's regarding the 2026 outdoor movie night update. I will give a little bit of an update, as I know we discussed this back in the fall when we had talked about. As a committee, we were hoping to hold an additional event for the community besides Canada Day, and that was going to be, we discussed the having a movie night event. I know this was brought to council and was approved. At the time when we were still deciding whether we were going to do it in the fall, I know Councillor Cox had went and got some quotes for us from different companies in regarding the type of screen and whether we could get popcorn and all inclusive packages at that time. But at that time, we chose to move it to the summer of 2026. At our last meeting, we discussed some timing. Some dates that we had discussed were after the Potato Festival weekend. So we had discussed Friday, August 14th or 21st. So again, before the long weekend, but again, after the Potato Festival long weekend, as I know some of the baseball leagues also do movie nights and stuff, so we can kind of not be in that same window. I know we briefly discussed location at that time. I think the discussion related to having it at the township office for this one. I know that in earlier conversations we talked about putting it in different hamlets of the community, but I think, Councillor Cox, if you can correct me, we had talked about the township building for this venue. So that was really the details that we had really done some pre-planning on. I think our next step as a committee would be to decide on a date or some dates and find out if, and then we'd probably have to get another quote from, I think you had got from two places. Yeah, two or three places to get an updated quote and check their availability for either of those dates. Any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair, should we just earmark those dates and see the availability for them and then decide upon availability which date it will be, the 14th or the 21st?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Give them the option for their scheduling. I'm sure the earlier we engage them, the more likely we're able to choose what date we want.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because then if one date doesn't work, we could have as a backup. And those were both Friday nights we had talked about having them. And I think the quotes that you had got is basically they came and did all the setup and everything was kind of done. So not a whole lot of pre-planning on our part, as it was kind of all handled, which was nice in terms of that. Yes, this is the first time that we had done the movie night. So it was something we had put out on social media or like a survey and whatnot. And this was something that, people had expressed interest in. And again, we wanted to kind of align it with Canada Day, making it a family type event to support families and children in our community. Now, I'm going to ask the deputy clerk to provide a brief summary of the role for the event chair of the outdoor movie night.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just quickly before we get into that, is it the committee's direction you're going to take back and just go and collect some quotes at this time? Okay, so we don't need any formal motion for that.
Okay.
Perfect. I just wanted to clarify.
Yep.
But yes, the event chair is appointed in addition to the committee's chair for each event hosted by the committee. This year, we will have two events, being Canada Day and the Outdoor Movie Night. And the event chair is responsible for leading and coordinating the execution of that specific event. So they really take charge on the event that they are the chair for. Thank you very much.
So is anyone interested in being the event chair of the outdoor movie night? Councillor Cox? Can I get a mover, please? And I'll second that motion. So carried. So the next item that we are going to move to is our Canada Day event. I'm going to give you an overview. So I was the chair last year, and I'm happy to do it again this year if that's what you choose. We had used a Google Doc the last 2 years, so it's a working document. So we were all kept in the loop of what was going on. So it really helped with planning purposes, and it allowed people to kind of enter their ideas when they had availability. So our Canada Day consisted of an evening event. I'll kind of just give you a brief summary of the evening event. It started at 7 and then it went till shortly after 10 with the fireworks. We had a section where we had kids games, golf putting, ring toss, basketball shooting. So it was like a games area for kids. Something that we've had the last couple of years that has worked really well is chips and freezies, where everyone that entered got a ticket and for chips or freezies of their choice. So that was something we really tried to make it a cost-free event for families. We've had our annual coloring contest for the kids and had like a station where they had the coloring contest. They did chalk, tattoos, bubbles. So it was kind of like a little kids area, which had and a photo booth type thing, and that worked really well. We also had the fireworks, which was the big part of that event. And that was something that I think the township had booked for us in the past. We also displayed some of our municipal vehicles, graders, backhoe, tandems. And one thing that we added last year is we weren't able to get the paint the bus is they did a paint the plow, and it was really well received. The kids had fun, the adults had fun, and it was just a nice way to bring more community spirit and highlight the arts. The fire department has also been an active role in Canada Day the last couple of years, and they've had a public education tent. They had a fire extinguisher training. They had like some bunker gear for kids, so it was neat. They facilitated some of that community learning around that. We've also had live entertainment at the gazebo, which has worked well. In the past, we had for 23 and 24, we had the Escape, and last year we had the Tim Ronan Band. We also had raffles. So last year, Mayor Anderson was able to get donations from Sheldon Creek and Breeden's maple syrup. So that was nice that people had that chance to win a basket. And also we provided, this was the second year we had done it, where we had 500 water bottles that were created with township logos on them, and they were handed out to people as a free token. So I think it was something that was well received, and maybe we can think of something that would maybe be different, as we did do water bottles 2 years in a row. But I think that sense of token of appreciation and recognizing our township is a nice piece. The last 2 years we didn't have any luck in terms of getting community groups like Scouts or Girl Guides or joining. I know we had tried both years. I know one discussion we had talked about if possibly using social media in the community groups if we choose to do that, to have that, but we have not had them for the last 2 years. Then we also had something for the last couple of years as a school. We partnered with the schools to do an art showcase and highlight some of the talent from the schools. So that was the schools in our area, and that has been a nice piece to link the schools that our township connects to. I know the township helped us last year with the communications of the event, posting things on the website and the Facebook and getting that information out to our community. And we also had the water truck, and I think that was something that township secured for us. And I'm sure probably that would be the same again. Then we had some volunteers. We didn't get as many high school volunteers, but we were able to, through our school showcase connection, is we got a lot of students that are going to grade 8, going to grade 9 that were able to help. So that the extra volunteers helped at like the kids station and stuff, which was very helpful. Last year we had a new addition. Mayor Anderson was able to connect us with Also Sweet Candy Shop, and we were able to provide cotton candy at no cost to the residents. And that was $510 out of our budget, but I think that was something well received, and it was a nice added feature and another way to support community businesses. I know at our last meeting and follow up from Canada Day, these were some of the things that we we had discussed and brought up to things to consider. So these are, I just want to share them with you now, but these are things that will be in the doc. And I think at our April meeting, we'll maybe need to finalize a bit more and making that decision. Are we going to go with having food trucks? Are we going, I know we had talked about at Kite Festival, they had it and it went well. But again, like if we'd probably need more than one, because like even the lineup with the cotton candy, it ends up being a lot. If we go with that option, that would be something we would need to decide sooner than later to secure food trucks. We also talked about additional activities for the kids, like we talked about like a juggler, magician, a balloon artist, that type of thing. I know last year you had tried to reach out, but we didn't have a whole lot of luck. So maybe if we can, I guess, almost like social media and see what, or even touch base with other municipalities like New Tech and stuff where they have had these kind of things to maybe give us some names. And then some other additional type games that are kind of like inflatable things where they can kick the ball towards like soccer, baseball type thing. We were at the coldest night of the year and they had some different things like that were fun for the kids. So big kind of blow up things and they kicking the balls, playing baseball. But again, we would have to look for a vendor that would be available for that. And then the other thing would be, because this year is the FIFA World Soccer Cup, is connecting maybe some soccer activities. I know Mayor Anderson had mentioned about possibly partnering with the Adjala-Tosorontio Soccer Club and having them run something related to soccer. So it would be neat for them to recognize their organization and then promote that, the FIFA World Cup at the same time. We also had an opening ceremonies. It was changed up a little bit last year. Mayor Anderson was able to connect with a local musician, and we had different artists perform. So they had done different Canadian songs and parts. So that was something that was really well received. I think we were trying last year to how can we continue with the opening ceremonies, but make it something new and engaging. So it was nice to see it seemed to be very well attended and a lot of positive feedback. And then following the musician and performance, then it was the traditional cake and coffee that they had after. And before that, we had all the traditional speeches and stuff. So it was a nice combination of traditional and then something new. And again, I think the big thing is highlighting the talent in our community. And I know we had a dance club that was unable to attend, but maybe this would be something they could attend this year I think it was something that was well received and enjoyed. Councillor Cox or Mayor Anderson, any additions you want to add to that? Yep, Mayor Anderson.
Sure, and I appreciate the highlights of that. But when it's on paper, it sounds like a lot. So and I'm pleased that we can continue doing this. So my initial thoughts would be we've seen 2 or 3 good years of doing these same things, and I don't think we need to change much up. But I would say that I think the addition of food trucks might be we've seen over the last few years a number of people asking for some options. So certainly I think that would be looking at 2 food trucks. Entertainment, of course, would be something that, again, we've had 2 good performers over the last years. I did hear some feedback from guests last year that they weren't too pleased with the entertainment. So maybe we need to look at something different this year. But again, having that entertainment is a big part of it. So maybe if we have any connections, or maybe we look at putting a call out for some of the local organizations to see if there's any other entertainers. And then if the committee is comfortable, I would continue to organize a morning ceremony. But I would like the committee to be comfortable with that so that I can take on that role if that's what you wish. And then again, trying to organize all that for July 1st for that week. And for that, I guess we are doing July 1st. So falls in the middle of the week, I believe, this year. So but if the committee's wishes for me to continue with that, I can certainly do that and take on that role.
Yes, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Move up. Yes, okay. Just around the entertainment, food for thought. My brother lives in Tottenham, and he's told me about in the summertime they have music in the park, and they're basically freelance music. Maybe that's where you were getting your musicians from. I'm not sure, but anyways, he says that they're very good. I've been to the Legion there and listened to some of the music, so they might be interested in participating.
Yep. Thank you for that suggestion. Councillor Cox, anything?
Through the chair, reference the morning ceremony. From my perspective, I don't see a mass amount of attendance on that. Right? Last year was really good with the artists. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was good. But I'm not sure if there's a need there for the community. But if you enjoy doing it, you want to continue doing it, by all means, I support you. But I just don't see the volume like the evening brings. You know what I mean? There's only a few people here, and it's not, you know, it sucks because we saw the local artists there and how well they performed, but not really having the, you know, the audience there to back it up, right? But that's if you want to do it, fully support it. But if it's something that you think that we should maybe go without, I'm also okay there.
If I may, Madam Chair, just I think we've seen that over the last few years, right? The decline in the morning, because generally it's been more of a traditional, more of the seniors that come out, the people that have been involved in the municipal politics and in the community, and we don't have that as much as we used to. So, but I think to that end, I think last year we started a bit late with a lot of stuff. And I think with we're in March now, I think we have an opportunity to make sure that we can get the ball rolling on a lot of these things and that advertising and getting people out for those events. So I would like to continue with that with at least one more year in the morning and seeing what we can get from that entertainment perspective in the morning. And then it ties in, it does split the day up, but I think it does tie into an event where you don't have to necessarily attend the Canada Day evening event, and you can do something in the morning. And a lot of people don't do anything in the morning for Canada Day. So I think Wasaga Beach is the only one locally that I know that does something in the actual morning for Canada Day. So we kind of take that little window of opportunity. And to Shirley's point about the entertainment, yes. So like the Lions Club does and the Legions do the entertainment at Tottenham and in the band shelter in Alliston. So there's some opportunity there if we wanted to try to find a local band or even two potentially that would want to come out and do that. So we could certainly reach out to them and see if there's any interest from an artist or two.
Okay, sorry about that. So my question is just around the morning ceremony. What time are we talking? Yes, so mid-morning.
Yeah, 10 o'clock, we had started it.
So I'm involved in the Alliston Women's Provost Club, and we have two other Provost Clubs, which are basically seniors. So I could see that we could be marketing through those venues, encourage people to come out, seniors.
For sure. Well, I think, Madam Chair, if I may, I think that's kind of the market, I guess, for the audience for that for the morning, because it's a more of a social coffee cake type event. And but the entertainment was great last year. So if we can find the same, we've 5 or 6 performers and come in for a half-hour concert, and we normally get the MPP come down as well. So that gives us another opportunity for them to come into our township, because again, they're running all over the province, really, and on Canada Day. So I think there's some opportunities that we can certainly look at this year for the morning.
And so just want to make sure I understand. So the venue is here? Okay, so there's suffice parking? Okay.
And I think, just to build on the morning ceremony, I think it's valuable, and I think a lot of people did enjoy it. And I do agree with Mayor Anderson. It was a little late, us getting timelines and things being put out. So I think if it's been out earlier, and I think if we're able to get a few more people, because you were starting to see people were bringing their friends to come see them perform. And if we're able to get like the dance group that we were going to have last year, that you'll see grandparents and other family members to, in my opinion, I see there's a lot of value, because it is, I think it's part of tradition as well. And it gives people an option for the people that choose not to go to the evening one. That's just my thoughts.
Through the chair, if I may.
Mhm.
I would just recommend that the committee pass a allocation of money, of budget, for the opening ceremony. If Mayor Anderson is going to be the one kind of heading that project, just so he has a budget that he can work within. Thank you.
Yeah, we can do that. I have the numbers here from last year. I know as a committee, our estimates were a little bit higher, and in some cases we were lower. So I think maybe sticking around the same thing, if that works for you. I know last year we budgeted 2,000, and it was 1,593.72. Would 2,000, do you think, be enough, or does it need to be higher?
No, I think that'd be fine. I'm just thinking maybe we could set budget at the next meeting, and we could come back with some ideas as to quotes for items that we'd be looking at, because I don't want to take a budget that we would necessarily need to utilize somewhere else. If we want to look at food trucks or other inflatables or things like that, I'm thinking we could probably do some research in the next month and come back with more concrete numbers, if that's fine.
Yeah.
But just to absolutely.
To make sure we.
So don't go over the 1,500 is what you're saying. Okay.
Councillor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair, in relation to food trucks. I think food trucks is a good idea, or like at least having food available is a good idea. A lot of times I do see with food trucks is they're big lineups. Big lineups, a lot of people waiting around, where potentially maybe we should just offer pizza for sale. Like a slice of pizza. It's a lot more compact. They're already pre-made. A lot of them, like, they'll probably fly off the shelves as soon as kids get there. Because rather than having lots of options and then everyone wants fries and fries got to cook and you're sitting there and everybody's the line. I see it happen at every event. The lineups get pretty significant for a food truck when then people are just standing around and sometimes they miss parts of the event. Where if you just had a pizza lineup, grab your slice of pizza and a pop, like similar to the way schools do it. You get your hot lunch. Yeah, but if you're already pre-ordered, you walk up, get or cash on hand, $5 pizza and a pop. Boom, done, simple. And most people like pizza. Just get pepperoni and the cheese, and I think we got all our bases covered.
So would we have to, like, in terms of numbers, like, would we have to do a certain amount, or would you have to get people to order in advance?
I would suggest doing, looking at the numbers we had last year and just leaving it in the hands of the vendor and how many they want to supply. And if they run out, well, they run out, right? But it's something that, people can get pretty quickly, and it doesn't take a lot to keep the pizza warm in, like, delivery bags. and just bringing out full boxes of pizza in a can of pop, like say, low dollar. I think a lot of families would be happy with just that, and it's easy cleanup. You know, just my suggestion.
So we've had in the past where like we've had hot dogs before. So that's an option too. But what it'll come down to is volunteers. So is it one more thing we need to take on to do that? So that's the only, I think we need to make it as simple as possible, but if we don't have the volunteers that do it, like that's where I think the food trucks are nice because that's third party. There, if they have cash or debit, they take care of all that, and then we don't have to worry about anything there too. So I think there's some options there. But I was just thinking, like Janice has the Google Docs here. We can look at it over the next month and put some ideas in there and see where we would want to come back in April and say, okay, do we want to do food trucks? Do we want to do pizza? Do we want to find another, maybe there's a service group out there that would do that for us potentially. So I think there's some options there. Yes. But I think there's some options certainly available. It's just how much effort do we want to put into it?
Just a question about the pizza. Were you thinking like the actual pizza company would be or we would be handing it out?
I would leave that to the pizza company. I would leave it to them. They have the bags. They have the equipment to make sure the pizza stays warm. They make it. They bring it there. It's to their discretion. I'd give them the previous numbers of how many people showed up. And like I said, if you sell out, you sell out. At least you provided an option. And we don't need volunteers. It's given to them because they're also promoting their business at the same time.
Mhm.
And you could reach out to a local pizza company. I don't know how many we have within Adjala-Tos, but that's where I would lean to, is a local pizza company supporting our Canada Day if they're interested, and give us the best price for a slice and a can of pop or a bottle of water, whatever you like.
Yeah, so that's why the biggest thing would they handle it so we wouldn't have to worry about the volunteers? Because yes, we're low on volunteers, and I think that's always been a struggle and will probably continue to be. So if it's like somebody doing it,
I also think for
Brendan?
food handling purposes.
Oh, yes,
right?
that's true.
That's all on them. They're
Mhm.
already certified in food handling. Make sure that it's, that's their responsibility. They hand out the slice, they cook them, they hand them out, and they collect the money for the sales that they made that
So
day.
it'd be like
All inclusive, just on them.
yeah.
Madam Chair, I just ask a question. So in past then, the food trucks have been the hot dogs. What else would you have offered?
We haven't had food trucks
Oh,
the
you
last
haven't?
couple of
Oh.
years. We have offered everyone that comes in, they get a ticket. They can get either chips or freezies.
Okay.
And then last year we added the cotton candy. So there's never been, like in previous years, I don't know how many years ago before, what there was hot dogs, but like in the last couple of years, it was the chips and the freezies, and then last year the cotton candy is the food. Yes, Councillor Cox.
Just for context, Shirley. Canada, they arrive here, what, 6, 7 o'clock? Was it the starting time?
6, I believe.
6, and then fireworks go off at around 10, right? So yeah, they have like a 4-hour window. So the chips and a can of pop go, like they're gone. So that's why the suggestion is to maybe bring something for the children and also the adults, to just have something to eat, because it's kind of like dinner time for some families, and I see how rambunctious some awaiting children get. That I tell you, I brought pizza to the last one, and my friend still thanks me because it settled to sundown. They sat down, got to eat something, and everybody asked me for a slice of pizza. So I thought, hey, well, maybe I'm onto something, right?
Deputy Clerk, did you want to provide us with an update on the fireworks and the water truck and the total budget for the event?
Sure, through you, Chair. Staff have put in the request to the fireworks company, as well as with Aqua for the water truck. We'll advise the committee as soon as we hear back and get confirmation. In addition, I just wanted to mention that the committee's budget for this year has remained unchanged. There is $17,000 available to support Canada Day, and the committee has an additional $5,000 for any additional events that they'd like to hold, which the outdoor movie night would come from. Thank you.
That sounds good, because I think last year we did quite well, keeping within budget, and then there should be enough for us if we were going to add in those extra things too. Yes, Mayor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just wanted to note, so the staff did also apply for the grant for Canada Day through Heritage Canada. And I believe this year they also applied for additional funding because of the FIFA World Cup. So if you include some sort of soccer theme to your Canada Day or to your event, then there was some additional funding. So I believe that was applied for. So again, if the committee is comfortable, I was going to reach out to Adjala-Tosorontio Soccer to see if they would be interested in doing anything on site that night. And we could just, of course, we got the 2 soccer pitches there. They could certainly do something, introduction to soccer or at least soccer themed. And we might be able to, again, garner some interest from local organization that way.
No, I think that's a great idea. And again, bringing in community people, that would be great.
And Madam Chair, we're okay with cotton candy again. I can reach out to the same vendor. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe have 2 or 3 staff members there if
Yeah.
they can to help out instead of 1, because I know that was good.
And I think they kind of felt overwhelmed by the end too. It was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was just as everybody was settling. It was.
Yes, it
starting
started
to
out
get
slow
dark.
and it was right, and then it was just wham. It was everybody there.
Right. And then everything was starting to get dark. So they were kind of moving over. So yeah, I think that would be great, because I think that they did really well last year for us. So we don't need to decide on any funding or allocation of money at this point. We can leave that to the.
That is at the will of the committee. Yep.
I think we can wait till next time. Yes, Shirley?
So, Madam Chair, I just thinking about with the cotton candy, I went to an event and they had an ice cream truck, and the ice cream truck was 100% in favor for the attendees. So I don't know if there's anything local that we could be looking into, but I think ice cream is usually very interested.
Summer's night.
Yeah.
I guess it would just be because I know last year we were able to pay for the cotton candy out of our committee fund, so there was no cost to people. So
Okay.
yeah, so it was like a free added token piece. So that was the only difference. Like they didn't pay, there was no cash exchange. We paid $500 and they gave us so many servings. So that was that last year.
And Madam Chair, we'd want to continue with the same freezies and chips, the same setup as that as well, just as a token. You come in and get a ticket.
I think that was well received, and is something that everybody, it's nice to come and get something that without having to buy something. So I think that was something that was quite easy to handle. If the committee's good with that, I think that we should continue with that, as we've had positive feedback on that.
Okay, we still got freezies in the freezer. Yeah, every year it's different. The chips will go 1 year and freezies next, and that's what we had 2 straight years. We had the chips didn't go the first year, freezies went, and then last year was the chips went and freezies didn't. So
I think it was kind of cooler too. So then it was like some
Probably
of them,
so, yeah.
yeah. Oh, I think I'll go with the chips. So now will be the appointment of the 2026 Canada Day Event Chair. Deputy Clerk, you're going to provide a summary, or you provided a summary already earlier this evening. I am happy to continue this role if that's what the committee would like. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cox, can I get a seconder, please? Shirley, any questions? So the recommendation reads that Janice Whiteside will be appointed as the event chair for the 2026 Canada Day event. And that, any new business items? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 8, adjournment. I now declare this meeting adjourned at 6:47 p.m.